Hi everyone out there, good day. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now please make sure you subscribe before we continue our videos, and make sure you only subscribe, like the video, and share with your family and friends. That is very, very important. So today I'm going to be taking on stem cells. So now when I say stem cells, what do we have about stem cells? Now stem cells simply means whenever they refer to stem cells, it can be simply defined as a type of undifferentiated cells that are capable of cell renewal and differentiate into specific specialized cell types in the body, essential for growth and development and tissue repair. You need to get that definition very well. They are undifferentiated and they have the capacity to differentiate into other cell types in the body. That is the major key things about the stem cells. Stem cells are undifferentiated cells and they have the capacity to differentiate into other cell types in the body. And they are essential for growth, they are essential for development and tissue repair. So now let's see what we have about it. I made a chart over here for the stem cells. Now, stem cells can be characterized based on their potency, their capacity. Now, they have based on their potency, based on their potential of how they can divide. We have totipotent stem cells, pluripotent stem cells, and multipotent stem cells. Then you can also have progenitor. Now, let me give you how the hierarchy is based on. Totipotent stem cells can develop into a full organism. Now, example of totipotent stem cells in the body, we have the zygotes. Here, we have the zygotes. Then here we have the morula. These are the typical examples of totipotent stem cells. They are capable to develop into an organism and they can divide into a whole human being. Now, listen very well, and they support the whole of development. Now, when it comes to pluripotent stem cells can develop into any human tissue cell types, but they cannot support full development. See that? They cannot support full development. But totipotent stem cells can support full development and differentiate into every cell type in the human body. That is the major difference between the pluripotent and totipotent. Toti can support full development and differentiate into any cell type tissue. But pluripotent can differentiate into any types of human tissue, but does not support full development because it can give rise to every cell type, but except for the trophoblast cells, it cannot divide into placenta. A typical example of pluripotent stem cells now, we have the inner cell mass. We have the inner cell mass. The inner cell mass. The inner cell mass is coming from blastocysts. Blastocysts is a typical example of where we have the inner cell mass and outer cell mass during the development of an embryo. That is the first of development there, and the 5 diseases thereabout. Now let's talk about the multipotent stem cells. Now, multipotent stem cells are type of stem cells that differentiate into particular cell units. They can only differentiate into particular cell units. They can't differentiate into many other cell types in the body, just only particular cell type units. Example of multipotent stem cells now, we have the hematopoietic stem cells. Hematopoietic stem cells. Alright, so now that is a typical example for that multipotent stem cells. They can only divide into a particular cell unit. Now, hematopoietic stem cells will only become white blood cell, red blood cell updated in the body. Hematopoietic stem cells will not have the ability to go and become a neuron again or divide into like nerve cells type. It's not possible. Now, when multipotent stem cells divide, they can now transform into what we call progenitor stem cells. Progenitor stem cells are descendants of stem cells that only that have the capacity to develop into a particular cell type. This is very well. They are descendants of stem cells that have the capacity to develop, to differentiate and develop into some specific cell types in the body. Example is oligopotent and unipotent. Now, oligopotent now a typical example of oligopotent stem cell is the vascular and myeloid stem cells. Myeloid stem cells. The two of them cannot divide into just some few cells in the body. Why unipotent stem cells? When we talk about unipotent, they can only divide into a one cell type. That is why the body is unipotent. Example of type, that example is like spermatogonia. So now, spermatogonia, they can only divide into what? Sperm cells alone. So now, when we talk about progenitor stem cells, they are descendants of the stem cells typically coming from multipotent. So now, where is the characteristics on how we can characterize stem cells based on their potency. This is the highest potency, this is the second highest, this is the third highest. Then this one go for the what? The least, that which is the descendant of the stem cells. Now, so now when you hear a progenitor cells, they are descendant of stem cells in the body. That is what we have over there. Now, these are the types of stem cells. Let me give you one that. Here are the types of stem cells. Now, when we say type of stem cells, we have embryonic stem cells, adult stem cells, induced pluripotent stem cells, perinatal and mesenchyme. Example on the board. When you say embryonic, they are coming from embryo. You see that. Example now, here now we have morula, here we have morula, here now we have blastocysts. You see that. All right, adult stem cells actually, example of adult stem cells very well. You see that. When we want to example of adult stem cells now, we are going to be having multiple stem cells. Example is hematopoietic stem cells. Hematopoietic stem cells. You see that. I've given that before. Hematopoietic are only found in the bone marrow. That's why I gave the example of the bone over here. Then induced pluripotent stem cells. What is a typical example? What's the meaning of induced pluripotent stem cells? They are type of stem cells that they are adult stem cells that are genetically reprogrammed to behave as embryonic stem cells. Embryonic stem cells can divide into many cells in the body. Now, but adult stem cells are typically a multipotent. They can only divide into a cell unit. But in case of induced pluripotent stem cells, now this is the example of the gene structure that I just did over here now. So now they are they are genetically reprogrammed. Genetically reprogrammed stem cells. You see that? Programmed stem cells that they are genetically programmed stem cells by which the adult stem cells is reprogrammed and behave like embryonic stem cells. And this is what we use mostly in research for drug testing and many therapeutic testing. That's what we use it for. The perinatal stem cells, they are stem cells that contain both embryonic and adult stem cells, and you can only find that in umbilical cord because they are derived from extra embryonic tissues. They are derived from fetal extra embryonic tissue. They are mostly derived from the umbilical cord. That is where they are kind of extracted what they call perinatal stem cells. So perinatal stem cells now, they are type of cells that are characterized by both embryonic and adult stem cells. They take them mostly from umbilical cord, and they are non-homogenic, and they possesses immune privilege. That is what we have over there. Then the last one I will tell you about is mesenchyme stem cells. Mesenchyme stem cells are mostly coming from mesodermal origin. We know that, but mesenchyme stem cells have the ability to develop into both endoderm origin. Endoderm origin is hepatocyte, maybe the liver chain, hepatocytes. Now the next one, they can also divide into adipocytes. Adipocytes, that is which is mesodermal origin. Then they can divide into nerve cells. You see that, or neurocytes. This is ectodermal origin. Alright, so class mesenchyme stem cells can divide into both endodermal origin, mesodermal origin, and ectodermal origin. Alright, thank you so much for watching. This is what we have about the stem cells. Stem cells talk about how cells have the capacity to divide from undifferentiated to differentiate into its particular cell types in the body. Then we could have these on potency, then we also have types of what? Stem cells. Alright, thank you for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe. Thank you so much, Tiger Science family.